I received your message.
I started looking into Ropeburn.
Why?
He's Travis Burfield, Pope's head of security.
You think he killed Pope?
Maybe. He sure as hell set Kate up. Wanted a cop to go down for it. And he wasn't alone. Heard him mention Project Icarus.
Burfield is dangerous, Faith. He's not someone you want to mess with.
He framed my sister.
I'm sorry, Faith.
For what?
For this. I don't want Kate to go down for this either. But we've got private firms muscling in on our districts. Bolstering city security, they call it. They're breathing down our necks, waiting for us to slip up. The only way they might go easy on us, and easy on Kate, is if I give them...
Me.
Yes.
All I care about is Kate. And for her sake, I'm gonna let you go. But if you pull a gun on me again, I will kill you. And right now, I think I'd be doing the city a favor. There's a bird going in the direction of Ropeburn's meeting.
You think it's Ropeburn's pal?
Maybe, but it looked like a CPF one to me. And how many other people can get their paws on a bird in this place?
Not many. Hey, you better get going if you want to catch them. And keep on street level 2. Blue's around.
Hey there and welcome back to the 4th chapter of Mirror's Edge. My name is Pete and let's get right to it. We are on our way to eavesdrop on a meeting of Ropeburn, also known as Travis Burfield, head of security of the murdered mayoral candidate Robert Pope. By the looks of it, he's meeting with someone from the CPF, the City Protection Force, the city's primary police force, which Faith's sister Kate and also Lieutenant Miller are working for. First thing we do is turn off the power so we don't get fried alive when jumping over the fences here. And then, in typical Mirror's Edge fashion, it's up to the rooftop. Let's quickly get back to Ropeburn and the CPF though. Ropeburn, who was working for Robert Pope, can not only be suspected of being involved in Pope's murder, but specifically stated he wanted a cop, so someone of the CPF, to go down for it. Now, however, it seems like he is meeting with someone from the CPF, which, while grabbing runnerbag number 13, leads us to the questions who and why.
I'm looking at the plans for this place. It's a labyrinth. It's quiet, too. No wonder Ropeburn picked it. But if there's a bird involved, I'm guessing they'll be near the roof. You're gonna need to find a way up.
Well, finding our way up is kind of our strong suit, I suppose. And just like in the last video, the first few minutes of this chapter are pretty uneventful and very quiet. Well, maybe apart from that.
You through yet?
City Eye Channel News can now confirm that.
So that's a no, then.
Don't rush me, man. We're almost through. We climb up the ladder and then midway through, turn around and jump to the other side. Here we drop down and then squeeze to the small space between the generators and the wall. Once again we climb up to find a well-hidden wheel, which, when turned, shuts down a steam valve a couple of meters across. We drop down again, perform a roll, and then climb up one more time, just to witness an interesting turn of events.
Seriously?
Yeah. Should never have trusted a Blue. He's with Ropeburn. Bet he's up to his neck in this Icarus stuff. I'm heading up. See what I can find out about Pope and Kate.
So the CPF personnel that Ropeburn is meeting with is no other than Lieutenant Miller himself. A man we talked to twice beforehand and who most definitely knows that we could come around the corner any minute.
If he says it, you can both go to hell. No one threatens me. Faith.
Yeah, I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. Speaking of coming around the corner though, Ropeburn picked us off there pretty nicely. But this is probably not the best time for mutual respect. So we disarm him. And then we have a friendly chat.
Better talk fast. I can see your hands starting to sweat. You set up Kate Connors, didn't you?
That little cop? Yeah.
Had to be a cop, right?
I don't mess in politics.
Who killed Pope? You?
No! I hired someone.
Who?
A professional. Meet him tomorrow, 2 p.m. Meet him in the mall downtown. You'll recognize him.
Why were you with Miller?
You sure you want to know about that? Pull me up and I'll tell you.
Watch him, Faith.
Try anything in your roadkill.
Sure.
Shit! Merc, someone's shooting. They got Ropeburn. What the?
Who's about to crash the party, Faith? Get out of there.
Okay, a few takeaways. Ropeburn hired an assassin to kill Robert Pope. Then, just as he is about to give us some information on Miller, somebody kills Ropeburn. The last thing we learn is that Ropeburn was supposed to meet Pope's killer at the mall. And before we can continue our conclusions, we get interrupted by combat. We manage to take out number 1 quickly and then rely on a reaction time disarm for number 2. And notice that on their helmet, instead of CPF, it says PK. And these are not the first enemies that we encounter in the game with PK on their armor. In fact, we meet enemies with this on their backs as early as the prologue. Who PK is and what they do will be revealed later.
Elevator shaft's the fastest way out. Only way out, too. One way or another, you've got to get that elevator moving.
And by pushing that button, Faith again shows little regard for her own life. Just in time, we jump off before the elevator crashes. And then we wait. Because there is a red sign.
He's in the elevator shaft. Get the damn doors open.
Very quickly we jump out of the shaft past the guard and then kick him into the shaft. All that for another runner back. Then it's back the way we came, through a small air duct and out through a maintenance door.
Seems Jackknife was bang on the money about Ropeburn being behind this. Wonder who his professional is. I'm boosting your signal. Try and find a way through. Signal set. Seems you might be clear of the blues for now. Looks like the Riding Park subway stop's closed. Some kind of renovation work.
So as we emerge in a subway station, Merc confirms what we already know. Ropeburn is behind Robert Pope's murder, but he's not alone.
Oh boy, blue's going into the subway. You gotta go deeper, Faith.
We are in the subway, cops are in the subway. Looks like this one is going to get ugly. First they try to lock us in, that fails, but of course gives them time to set up position.
Blue's ahead trying to cut you off. Get ready to fight.
Well, thanks for the warning, Merc. We were ready to fight long ago. The first 2 guys aren't heavily armored, which gives us an advantage. We managed to dispatch of number 1 quickly, then unfortunately catch a bullet, but then swiftly disarm number 2 without using reaction time, which is important. We navigate around the pillars, switching sides to stay in cover, and approach the next set of enemies. We make use of a slide kick to then disarm number 3 from the back, then throw away the gun and stay in cover, and knock out number 4. We are far from done yet, as we can see 2 more enemies on our far right. This next maneuver is a bit risky, as we use our saved up reaction time to disarm number 5. Then unfortunately we get shot twice after doing so, but somehow manage to take out the last enemy with a knockout.
There's a track access way to get to the platform. Could be a way out.
After dispatching of this small army, we then make our way briefly across the tracks and up the ladder. And now we can finally catch our breath. If you time it right, you can actually land on these poles you're supposed to swing on, which saves a couple of seconds. We then come around the corner and instead of continuing to move forward, we go upwards. This third and last runner back of the level is very well hidden and kind of easy to miss. When dropping down, we want to be careful not to go too far to avoid falling onto the tracks. After a long wall run and a slide, we land directly in front of our exit. The next door, however, is blocked, but there seems to be an override switch in the janitor's office. Luckily, this office is just a few meters away, so after a wall run turn jump, we reach the upper level. Nowhere to go to the left, but to the right there is a red door. Inside, we find a note to feed Scruffy, which is probably this rat right here, and then we press the emergency door override. The way down is much shorter than the way up, and after a few seconds we are on the tracks.
Blue's getting close. Moving, Faith. Losing your signal.
Despite our efforts, it seems like we still haven't lost the police completely. And with someone shouting "suspect spotted" in the background, we can assume they're close. Good for us that the train makes its way past and we can continue instead of going for another confrontation. To get off the tracks and away from danger, we take the ladder, on top take a couple of steps backwards, then swing over the tracks, go through the door and drop down. On the floor we slide into the neighboring room, where we take a right, followed by a wall run turn jump, a jump and a swing, and then a long wall run to the other side. Here we can push a button, which turns off the fans right here. That allows us to crouch through. And then we go for public transportation.
Hey, the train. Hey, the train.
This final part of the level is relatively straightforward. Riding on top of the train, we will just have to avoid a couple of things that pop up in front of us, such as this sign. 2 steps to the left and we're past.
Sure, old tunnel ahead. Jump to another train.
After passing another sign, we then have to jump across onto the other train, which is also not too difficult. The obstacles in our way are now a little bit harder on this one. To stay on the train, we have to briefly jump right here, for example. Then quickly move to the right, then duck under the overpass and stay low because there is another one coming. After that, up again and to the left. This is kind of a reaction minigame here. Although, after 2 more obstacles, we seem to come to a sudden stop.
Shit, the Blues are stopping trains in the tunnels now. There's a train coming behind you. Get the hell out of there. Nice work, kiddo. Real nice. If you get any more trouble, Celeste's on a job near you. She'll help you out.
I think that's enough trains for today, so let's get out of here. And that's it for this chapter. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Click the video to watch the next part in the series right now. If you like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button and show your support.